Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our Raw Reaction series, and specifically the Arsenal News Show, episode 95. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Today it is match day, finally. We're in the groove. We've got a game this evening and then another 9-day break until the next one, which is a bit frustrating, but there's always something that can give you a little bit of joy, even when Arsenal aren't playing, and you know exactly who and what I am talking about. So thank you to both. I was going to say both Man United, but I suppose a good draw at Atletico Madrid is a decent result. But they didn't win. It's always good. And Spurs. Lol. Matt G, good morning to you. Olu, Jose, John T, G Norburn, Rathaveri, Stevie, Manu, Bobby in the chat box as well. Thank you for joining us yesterday on our preview show. If you haven't joined our preview show yet, please make sure you go back and give it a watch. Gives you all of the insight of myself and my members ahead of tonight's fixture. Paul, good morning to you. Matt G, Vinny, Colin, Rob, Afsar, Tom. We've got Bruce, we've got Harvey, Carl, we've got Tony, Martin, Temi, Dana, Anthony. Try to do as many as I can this morning. Adam, Christopher, Viraj, Scotty. Good morning to everybody, and hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing well. Please drop a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And yeah, let's crack on with today's stories. We start, as always, by telling you to go and subscribe to the Arsenal Way. If you haven't done so already, I'll be live over there at 9:30 this morning, covering even more update and looking ahead to tonight's game against Wolves. So do go and make sure you're subscribed over there if you're not already. But we do kick off with, it's not really Arsenal news per se, but it is certainly news regarding Antonio Conte, which affects Arsenal quite significantly. Fabrizio Romano putting out the comments from last night, this morning, saying that the players here are always the same. I'm trying to do everything to change the situation, but the situation is not changing. Future, ? I am open for every decision because I want to help Tottenham. And he said, maybe I'm not so good. I can't close my eyes. I have ambition. This is great. Honestly, probably the quote of the night from Conte was, I'm too honest to close my eyes. You understand? And to continue to say, okay, I want to finish the season in this way. And okay, my salary is good. I'm not this type of person. I have ambition. This is just great. It's absolutely brilliant to see the utter meltdown. He continued by saying, I need to talk to the club. Tottenham have to make an assessment about the club, about me. We need to find the best solution. I can't accept to keep losing. I'm sorry. Here, coaches change, but players are always the same, but the results don't change, which is basically him saying, please sack me, and it's not my fault. You've got the awful players that I can't do anything about, which is ironic because only a few days ago he said this is one of the best group of players that he's ever played with. It's just so funny. Oh, dearie me. Thank you to Scotty for becoming a member. What a good timing. I mean, I'll do more anti-Spurs news if it convinces more of you guys to sign up. Good morning, Scotty, and welcome to the crew. Let's crack on, though, with more Arsenal stuff. And Arteta has opened the door to Jack Wilshere returning as a possible future coach in the future. When asked about the possibility, he said 100% chance that Jack could return as a coach in the future. Jack, of course, joined the Danish leagues and will be playing with, I believe, ADG, and will be hoping to get his career back on track with an 18-month or 6-month contract with the option of another year. So we wish Jack the absolute best, but could we see him in an Arsenal shirt in the future? But a coaching shirt certainly seems likely at this stage. Now, these were interesting rumours that came out from Italy yesterday, and England, to be fair, that Fiorentina are apparently favourites to sign Lucas Torreira. You've heard that right. They're favourites. I can't quite believe that they've stolen a march in the race to sign a player that they have an option to buy. But that is the reports that came out yesterday. The player with an option to sign for Fiorentina. Fiorentina are said to be the favourites to sign him. This must be news to all of us. However, I just found it quite a funny story that I wanted to highlight. Of course, they're favourites. They've got an option. Of course, they look like they're going to buy him. They've got quite a bit of money now since selling Vlahovic, and he's done very well. So we can all expect Torreira to leave for Fiorentina in the summer. What kind of story is that? Lautaro Martinez now, our penultimate story of the day, is certainly an interesting one. And Arsenal are said to be making their first steps into pushing ahead with a summer deal. That's the reports that are coming out of Italy this morning and last night, is that the first steps have been taken by Arsenal to try and convince Lautaro Martinez to join Arsenal, which would be quite an interesting move considering the fact that he signed a new deal last summer. When we first reported this story a couple of days ago, Jesus, like what, what makes any kind of sense about a player just signing a new deal and then moving? But it certainly does seem to be that is the case. It's just mad how many strikers we're now being linked to, and we only know that one, maybe two of them are going to join. The thing about Martinez is that he works best in a two-striker system. He has played as a single striker for Argentina, sure. But I just struggle to see how he would fit into the Arsenal team at the moment, unless we were looking to change systems. Who knows? Maybe that we will, but an interesting one. Thracian King, thank you so much, mate, becoming a new member. I'm sure the chat box has already given you an absolutely warm welcome too. So good morning and welcome to you, to the crew as well. And finally, Mikel Arteta responded to questions regarding his contract. He said, "I'm really happy here. My aim is just to build with the club a winning team, a team people can enjoy watching. Things will happen naturally. Our focus must be delivering what we want." It seems like the words of a man that is about to sign a new Arsenal contract indeed. We reacted to this quite significantly yesterday. It did certainly split opinions in the comment section, that's for sure. And we're going to probably start off our Q&A session today with this topic as well, because that does complete all of today's news. Lastly, of course, we need to mention that Arsenal are playing this evening. I am doing a 9-5 shift, which means there will be a on-the-whistle reaction show tonight, straight after Arsenal have, fingers crossed, beaten the fun police in tonight's game. So make sure that you've got those notifications turned on so you can jump over to the channel in the chat box at full time and get your reactions and thoughts and feelings heard. I look forward to bringing you that video. Fingers crossed, look forward anyway, should we win. Let's jump to the questions. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat box about the possibility that is edging ever closer that Mikel Arteta is seemingly going to sign a new deal with Arsenal. Okay, let's jump into the chats. Kasira, good morning to you, mate, from Uganda. Thank you for joining me so much. My family links to Uganda. My aunt is from there, so got my own links there too. John, have we been linked to Lukaku yet? Yes, it almost feels like a matter of time, John, doesn't it? Really genuinely does. Bobby says, welcome to the TGT family, Scotty Biscotti and Thracian King. Absolutely welcome them into the crew. Jake says, how fortunate were United to get a draw? The answer, very fortunate. Simple as that. says Martinez before Italy played as a one top striker, so he has experience there, possibly enough to get him into the Arsenal first team. And of course, as I mentioned, has played there for Argentina. One that I need to do a little bit of research on, I think. Viraj says that level of Arteta comfort in the press conference was unusual. Does it make you more confident or less? Comfort is something that can never really be afforded to a football manager unless you're at Arsenal Football Club. So is it all that surprising that he looked and felt comfortable at the club in the press conference? No, I think it's probably a matter of time until a contract is announced. It's probably already agreed by this stage, to be honest, and it seems a formality that he will renew his deal. Olu says, why should we renew Arteta when Conte will likely be available in the summer? This is really interesting because whilst I know this is a tongue-in-cheek question, I mean, a lot of us, including myself, were very much of the idea that Antonio Conte would have been kind of that step up, impossible quality of coach that we would need. And it shows that you can go to a team with all the experience, all the pedigree, and it's still not work. Rafa Benitez at Everton, Antonio Conte at Spurs. It is funny. And Arsenal are certainly coming out ahead of those. And you've got to say that Arteta's done a better job than Benitez and Conte so far. Marcus says, Arteta, if top four gets the deal, qualifies for Europa, maybe short contract, but if no Europa, should go. Your thoughts? I have always said that if he gets top four, he's absolutely earned a new deal. If he gets 5th, there's a conversation. If he gets 6th, there's a worse conversation. If he gets outside of 6th, I'm probably looking to someone else to take on the role of a new manager. So it does depend on where he finishes for me. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It looks like he's going to be given a new contract no matter what, which means we'll move on from that conversation fairly swiftly. Paul says, do you think that the likes of Barcelona are making moves for Mikel Arteta? That's why we are offering a new deal. I don't think Barcelona, because they've just got Xavi. Manchester City seem to be the big one that they are concerned about. So there you go. Champion Communications Malawi says, if Conte leaves Spurs and becomes available, would you take him for Arsenal? You know what? I'm really moving away from the idea of Conte at Arsenal after what I've seen of his behaviour. And to be honest, I think we can all agree that, yes, Arsenal need to improve in the here and now, but we need some assurances about the long terminology of this club, and Conte gives you none of that. Absolutely none of that. So, you know, it could be that he gets us to a case where we fight for a title in a couple of years, maybe, but then leaves us and we fall away. I hope that wouldn't be the case. And that's not happened with Inter this season, but I think they've been fortunate that Juventus have been so poor this year. But it has happened previously. It could happen at Tottenham. I hope it does. It'd be great. But yeah, I tell you what, that Jamie O'Hara comment on TalkSport, or Sky Sports, I think it was, when they announced Conte, we're back. Apparently they're back. We've got to remember that. Apparently Spurs are back. So just amusing. It's just great at this stage. Sam says, who is your favourite choice for a striker get in the summer? David, Isaac. I'd want Schick and David, please. Bring me Schick and David as a pair. People say, what one? We need 2. Let's go get 2. David Schick, Patrick Schick, sorry, and Jonathan David is who I want. Shia Dozy says, will you consider 150 million bid for Joao Felix, Osimhen, Danilo, and Tielemans a good transfer business? Look, that's 2 forwards, 2 differing forwards. Think they work together, Osimhen and Joao Felix. I think it may cost a bit more than that for both of them, though. I'm not sure where you're getting the money for Danilo and Tielemans if you're signing Joao Felix and Osimhen, because they are going to cost you a significant amount of money. That's my only issue with that. Vinny says, at the start of the season, we aimed for top 6. We are in the driving seat for top 4 and had our star player completely flop. Arteta is doing a great job with a very thin squad. Harvey says, with recent events, Tom, do you think Chelsea will be affected economically? I'm not in the know enough, but what I will say, based on the news this morning, is obviously my thoughts are with both the Ukrainian and Russian people that are affected by what's going on at the moment. So if you are tuning in from any of those areas, or you have friends and family that are affected by any of those areas, obviously our thoughts do go out to all of you, and we hope that you're okay. Thato says, I might be in the minority here, but I don't mind a new Arteta contract. It's so clear that since December of last year, Arsenal have been improving, and we are 2 to 3 players away from greatness. It feels like we've always been like that. It feels like we've always been 2 or 3 players away from reaching that next level of Arsenal Football Club. This summer is the chance to go and do that. Let's see if we do. Matthew says, if Wolves away was a serious test that we passed, then this is perhaps an even greater test tonight. I absolutely have to give you that. John says, Arteta comfortable, Conte hanging on by a thread. Things change quickly. Dapo says, Carlo Ancelotti failed at Everton as well, as another example of that experienced pedigree coach not getting what people expected at those places. Viraj says, do we really want Conte with some of the things that he said? He's busy throwing his toys out of the pram. Akshat says, doesn't this Conte meltdown owner underline how good Arteta's work is? Bad squad, bad result, 2 very different reactions and attitudes. Jake says, Conte has lots of house cleaning to do at Spurs. So that's the understatement of the year. Absolutely the understatement. I saw a comment about supposedly that Everton and Spurs aren't close to Arsenal. I'm sorry, mate, but that's not true at all. Everton have tried to get to where Arsenal are, and they've tried to get to above where Arsenal are by employing coaches like Rafa Benitez. Arsenal are trying to get to the top 4. They need to progress. Everton need to progress. Tottenham need to progress. They've hired a coach to help them do that. It's not happened. So let's not pretend that we're not trying to all do the same thing and push forwards. Sorry, but your analogy has fallen flat on its face. Dana says, Tom, do you prefer a long-term success with a few bumps or short-term success and it all crumbles with a short-term manager? Long-term success for me, but we have to get that is the key thing. And we don't have guarantee of that is the important thing to remember. Maximilian says, hey, Tom, all the strikers we are getting linked up to lately, which one do you want to see us signing if we get two of Leao, David and Martinez? To be honest, of all three of those, they're all very similar. And I would want to see one of those three and then more of a Schick or a Calvert-Lewin or an Isaac, someone more physical, someone with more verticality. I think we need to add two, and I think they need to be differing in their characteristics, to be honest. Let's go to... what? No mas, I ain't your captain anymore. I don't know what that means. Says, if Everton get relegated, would you consider Calvert-Lewin? That's if he's fit. Big up from Melbourne. Thanks, mate. I would always consider the option of Calvert-Lewin, but not as the sole option. He needs to come in alongside a David or a Leao or a Lautaro Martinez. That's what I feel about this. Could we get Haaland? Unlikely, but why not throw your hat into the ring is what I say on that one. Perez says, Tom, watching David against Chelsea, do you think he can do it in the Premier League? I think his energy is unrivaled. He pressed Chelsea. I was really impressed with Lille in certain parts of that fixture. They didn't really have quite the cutting edge in the game to get through Chelsea. But hey, that's not the only ones that have struggled against this Chelsea side so far in the last few years or so. I think he absolutely does, really genuinely. If he plays with the right players, I think we can get a lot from Jonathan David, a hell of a lot. JDB says, Tom, out of our senior loanees that we have loaned out in January or the summer, if you could take only one back as a backup, who would it be? I'd have Marie. Good question. I'd probably have Guendouzi. That may seem mad, but I'd probably have Guendouzi, to be honest. Maybe Saliba, but I kind of like Saliba being out there and playing. I feel like Guendouzi, I want to give Guendouzi a second chance if he'd be open to it. He's not coming back. We know that for sure. He's gone. But I would give him a second chance if he was willing to get with the program. My worry would be is I don't think he would be. But he's a hell of a midfielder. He's an absolute hell of... I'll tell you what, I'd play him over Granit Xhaka. That's what I would do. Play him over Granit Xhaka at the moment. Jasmine says, think Argentina doesn't play a two-striker system, right? Lautaro still scores a lot. He does. I mean, not as much as he scores for Inter. And of course, you have to factor in who Argentina are playing against a lot of the time. But it's a fair point. And also, you have to factor in the Premier League side of things. I saw someone ask the question about Haller, Manu. Again, he's kind of had his chance in the Premier League and it didn't work out. Sometimes players work in certain places and not in others. If you remember, Haller kind of earns that move to Frankfurt from his record with Utrecht in the Eredivisie, and then, of course, is now back at Ajax and doing great. So, and yes, he's got a very good Champions League record, but I think it's the team that he's playing with. His Dutch side seems to really fit what he wants. The Simpsons says, for Arsenal, is it better for Man United advance or drop to the Europa League? Your opinion, please. They won't drop to the Europa League, I don't think, unless they've changed the format. If they change the format, I'm pretty sure you had to finish like third in your group, did you not? Or is this round the Europa League? Has it changed? Champions League, Europa League drop. I thought it was the hold on. The 6 losing teams in the Champions League playoff round are automatically that's the playoff round. Someone will tell me in the chat box, but I was pretty sure that happened in the group stage, unless they've changed it. But I'll have to check that because we've not been in the Champions League for so long. I've not even kept up with it. Let's go to Musa. How many years do you think we are away from winning the league if the process keeps going seemingly to plan? I think 3 to 4 years would be a miracle. City, United, Newcastle, Chelsea are going to spend. We're going to spend. We just got to keep ourselves, improving. We've got to sign the right players. We've got to improve the squad. Everybody at the start of the season starts on the same amount of points for the same amount of games. You just got to win as many of them as feasibly possible. The problem is to win the title is that you can only afford really to lose 3 or 4 matches. And for Arsenal, 3 or 4 matches is playing Liverpool twice and City twice at minimum. And then you add in Chelsea. And then you add in the banana skins that we slip up on. We need to remove those if we ever want to compete for a title. That's for sure. Yeah, I thought it was third in the group stage. Thank you. I don't know why that threw me. So Man United will be either eliminated from Europe entirely or they will go through to the quarterfinals. Then it says, Tom, did you see the work rate of David in the game against Chelsea? I was impressed with him. He only needs to score. And the thing is, he is scoring. He scores at a rate of 1 in 2 at the moment for Lille across all competitions. So why not? I really don't understand the reservations. And I did read your piece, Harry, my good friend Harry Simier. I don't agree. I think David would be a brilliant player. The press, the clinicalness of finishing when in the right place at the right time, his movement is excellent. He plays in a single striker system, I believe, for Canada, and has scored plenty of goals in that role. I would absolutely move for him. Absolutely would move for him. What's your opinion on Partey? I think he's a great player that we've not seen the best of yet, and fingers crossed we do. And I think that giving him this new responsibility of playing as the number 6 will work. I'm hoping that it will. I really, really am. I think that is where we're going to wrap things up. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to be doing a show at full time on The Whistle this evening, so do join me in the chat box. You know, this is the show where we read out all of your comments and go through as many of things of what you're saying as possible. If you want to get a preview of the game this evening, you can watch our preview show from last night. We also did a youth update. I was joined by Kev to talk about following Balogun, Brooke Norton-Cuffy, Patino, Hutchinson, Flores. We did a whole overlook of all the youth side in our monthly update. So that came out yesterday as well. And make sure you join me again tomorrow morning. But I will be live in just over an hour's time as well on the Arsenal Way. So if you're not ready to finish chatting in a chat box about Arsenal, do join me in just over an hour's time at 9:30 a.m. UK time on the Arsenal Way, having a look ahead to the game tonight against the Fun Police. So I look forward to that very much so. See you this afternoon. See you this morning if you're joining me over there too. And as always, up the Arsenal.